This is the thing. Often, the concept of love, what people understand, is limited. When I talk about loving more, meaning, you see, the way you perceive love or hate, it's a limited version. Because you are not in fullness in yourself. When you are full in yourself, you perceive the whole of everything, not only part. When people say they love, very often the love is a limited love. They limit themselves because they love the quality of somebody. They don't really love the person. Why? Like yesterday I was saying, to love someone, you must know yourself. Yes or no? If you don't know yourself, how do you know somebody else? It's the presumption only of knowing. So you think you know the person. You think you are loving the person to your fullness. But yet, your full potential of loving happen only when you transcend the barrier of the mind. That barrier which create a difference. Like I said yesterday, if there is love, automatically there will be hate. That is in your mind. That your concept of loving. You know, if there is good, there is bad. If there is heat, there is cold. So that pair of opposite is there. When I said to love more, meaning to go beyond the mind. You as a spiritual person, you have more potential in loving the divine within everything. But most of the time, what happens? You limit yourself. You limit yourself through concept. So what you love the concept of somebody. Even if you are loving your parents, it's not the parent that you love the concept of what you have always received. You know, from childhood, they have always a mind to your want and needs. That's what you love. As long as people tell you yes, yes for everything, you love that. The moment somebody say no to you, how is your feeling? Your feeling of love is still there? Huh? No. Even if you say yes, it is there, you will lie to yourself. There is a pinch inside of your heart, you know, that feel hurt. No? Is it love? Love doesn't change. Love keep growing. Love keep increasing. So that means that concept of love which is limited is still in the mind. Anyway, you don't know anything else. This is another thing, you know, because since small you've been taught like that, to love like this, or to love like that, or to not love like this, not to do this, not to do that. You know, this have been told to you. This have been infused to you through your parents, for the society, through media, for everything. So you have been programmed in a way to love how others want you to love, not how you want to love. You may say, yes, I want to love unconditionally, you know, which is not true. That program always come. And that program would always jump. Even when you're saying, yes, I'm a spiritual person, you know, and I'm loving, all merciful, or whatever, but yet you have not transcended the mind. That love, that means there is more to do. Like I said, love is not limited. Love is eternal. There's nothing higher than love. That's why you can say love is God, because there's nobody else beyond Him. But first you have to change the concept of how you perceive things. You know, like Krishna said in the Gita, it's the same mind but love and the same mind but hate. You know, that's what you say. You know, I call it ice cream love. You know, in the Gita I've talked about it. You know, I said ice cream love is like a scoop of ice cream. You love ice cream, you know. You know, you love that food. You know, love jalebi, you know. And then what happened? You ate it, once you are satisfied, that love is gone. And that's what people call love. Once you disagree with somebody, the same person which you wake up in the morning said, I love you, my dear. In the evening, you will say, I hate you, my dear. Just need to say one or two words that the person don't want to hear. This is you. You know, I'm not talking about that. This is true. This is part of life. How much you can proclaim your love, you know, until you have not touched the love of God, really know what is love in itself, you don't love. You are just hypocrite of love. And for that love to awake, you know, one must change one mindset. If one keep running towards this love, which is the here today, tomorrow is not here, you'd have not learned anything what is love. When death will knock at your door and ask you, what have you learned? Said, yes, I have learned to earn this and earn that and build this and build that. And you have not achieved anything. When you look at your life behind, what do you have with you? Huh? Nothing. And that's what the whole world have been running after. It's not only now, for centuries. God have always sent His messengers, saints, prophets, and sages to remind people continuously of that love. But how many have listened? A handful, maybe. And yet people claim they know what is love. They know what is common love. They know what is the love that you have been taught about. But you don't know what is true love. So that's why I said, love more. Until you beam that light, you know, you beam that love, until your heart is consumed with that love. Then you know what is love. That's why there is more to do. There's more to climb. You know, there's more to dig within. But all of this happen only when you change your mindset. When your mind turns towards a love which is limited, you will have limited things. But when your mind turns towards the ultimate, unlimited, eternal, transcendental love, then everything else is transformed into that. There's this beautiful story of a lady called Lily. Lily, she was in love with a very handsome man. She got married. And they live very happily. But the only problem was his mother, the mother-in-law. Always, you know. That was a big problem for Lily. So Lily tried at the beginning to be very nicely, you know, very nice and joyful. But how long can you do that? There is always a limit, no? Yes or no? You can love your mother, but mother-in-law, how can you love? So Lily was tolerating. No, go on. It come to a point that you see, their culture and the culture of Lily was different. So in the culture of the mother-in-law, they have to abide to what the mother-in-law said, and they have to bow down to the mother-in-law in the morning, like Indian do, you know. But in Lily's culture, it was not like that. So one fine day, Lily decide, I must sort that lady out for once. So Lily went to her father's best friend, and her father's best friend had a shop with some herbs, all kind of herbs. And he went to Mr. David and said to Mr. David, her problem. And Mr. David said, okay, fine, I will help you. But one thing, if we give in one go the whole herbs, sort her out in one go, not good. That will bring suspicious, then they will accuse you, you will be burned and killed. So you should follow what I'm telling you, and follow the prescription. I will give you the right herbs, and you should give her every day the little bit of that herb in her food. And one thing, you should cook the best food for her. And you should pretend to love her dearly. Lily said, I will give you only the herb only if you agree with me. I said, yes, I will follow what you said. It's true. You can't just sort her out in one go like that. So little by little, the poison will do the herb will do its work. So Lily was very happy, took the herbs, come home. That day she was so joyful, happy, and she called her mother-in-law, and she cooked the best food for her mother-in-law. So I put a little bit of the herb and give it to her. So every day she will put the little bit of herb, and she will be very happy with her. She will pretend to be happy, with her. She will pretend to love her. So time passes, days become weeks, weeks become months. Mother-in-law was still alive. So after 6 months, still she will give the herb, but her whole attitude towards her have changed. Her temperament, her temper towards her mother-in-law was not there anymore. Because all what she was doing was loving her. Pretend at the beginning. Pretend to love her. So she was pretending. That becomes so natural, so normal. But that love become real. There was genuinely love between them. After 6 months, Lily decided to go pay a visit to Mr. David. So this time he went to Mr. David. He said, Mr. David, please, I don't want to sort my mother-in-law out anymore. Please, can you give me another herb to counter that poison? So Mr. David said, listen, my dear, I have never given you poison. I have given you just oregano. Thanks God she was not allergic to it. I have just given you oregano, nothing else. But what have had changed is that poison which is inside of your mind, that what have changed. That poison which were poisoning you, which were making you angry, which were always making you frustrated, when you start pretending to love, love and love, that become the reality. So you see, the same thing we're saying. If you have poisoned your mind throughout a certain kind of love, you will not understand the ultimate reality of love. You know, if society have tell you always to love like this, which is full of judgment and criticism in everything, because what people say about love is always what they like. You like the personality, you like the quality. Then you tell people this, I'm loving that person because it is like that, like that, like that. So you have put that person in a certain category of what you feel it is love. Understand? And yet, that's what you claim you're loving. You're loving the category of the person. You're loving the quality of the person, but you're not loving the person. So when you learn to love the person, no matter how the person is, then you can truly love. As long as you have not, you see only the quality of the person, you see only the limited version of what you like and what you don't like in the person, and you love that quality, you have not known what is real love. That's why I always say, love more.